Chosen one, freeze exactly where you are and pay close attention to every word I'm about to tell you, because what you're about to discover is going to permanently destroy the limited version you had of yourself. There's something happening with you at this exact moment that you haven't fully realized yet. A silent transformation operating in dimensions your physical eyes cannot see, but that your soul feels every time you lay your head on the pillow and notice that something has changed. And the most disturbing part of all this is that even God was impressed with what you're becoming. I know this statement seems too bold, seems like exaggeration, seems like the kind of thing people say to make you feel special for a few minutes before reality throws you back to the ground. But it's not, because what I'm going to reveal to you today is not empty motivation or cheap promises of instant transformation. It's the documented truth in spiritual dimensions about who you're inevitably becoming, whether you want to believe it or not. There's a devastating difference between wishing to become something and having absolute certainty that you're already becoming it. And that difference has just been confirmed about you in a way that will leave you speechless. Subscribe to this channel right now and turn on all notifications, because the revelations I share here are being systematically blocked so that chosen ones like you don't discover the real magnitude of what they're destined to become. Stay until the end, because I'm going to show you exactly what you're going to become, why God was so impressed, which signs are already appearing in your life confirming this transformation, and what's going to happen to every person who doubted you when the complete manifestation finally arrives. Write 777 in the comments if you've been feeling lately that something inside you is changing without you being able to control it, and you're ready to discover the devastating truth about who you're really becoming. You have no idea what's been happening in spiritual dimensions while you were living your ordinary life thinking nobody was paying attention, while you woke up every day facing the same battles, while you smiled at people who didn't deserve your kindness, while you chose to do the right thing even when nobody was watching. Something was being recorded. Every decision, every thought, every moment where you had the opportunity to be cruel and chose to be kind. Every situation where lying would have been easier, and you chose truth. Every time you could have given up and still kept going. All of that was documented, not by ordinary angels, not by random entities, but by a specific celestial hierarchy responsible for identifying which souls on Earth are ready for transformations that transcend the ordinary. And you know what's most disturbing? This observation didn't start last week. It didn't start last month. It's been happening for much longer than you imagine. Do you remember that moment when you were completely alone and still chose to act with integrity? That moment when no human being would ever know if you had done differently? That moment when temptation was so strong it seemed impossible to resist, but you resisted anyway. That moment was recorded. And it wasn't recorded as just another piece of data in an infinite file of information. It was recorded as evidence. Concrete proof that your character reached a level most human beings will never achieve. You spent years thinking your small decisions didn't matter, that nobody saw when you were good without an audience, that your silent battles were invisible to the universe, but each one of them was being observed, analyzed, documented as part of a spiritual dossier that would be used to determine if you were ready for the next level. And the conclusion of that dossier is what brought me to you today. After all that period of meticulous observation, something happened that rarely happens in the spiritual world. The report about you was finalized, and when the celestial authorities responsible for evaluating souls in transition read the conclusion, there was a moment of silence that lasted the equivalent of days in human time. It wasn't silence of disappointment, it was silence of reverence, because the conclusion didn't just say you had potential. It didn't just say you were a good person. It didn't just say you deserved common blessings. The conclusion said you had exceeded all expected standards for souls at your stage of evolution. Let me explain what this means in practical terms. There are minimum standards a soul needs to reach to be considered ready for certain transformations. Most people spend their entire lives without reaching even the minimum. Some reach the minimum after decades of conscious spiritual work. You didn't just reach the minimum. You surpassed it without even knowing you were being evaluated. And this is the part that impressed even the highest hierarchies. You did all of this without external motivation, without knowing you were being observed, without expecting reward. You simply were who you are because that's who you chose to be. This is extraordinarily rare. Most people only act with integrity when they know they're being seen. Only choose the difficult path when there's an audience to applaud. Only maintain high standards when there's social pressure to do so. But you maintained who you are even in the dark, even in solitude, even when nobody would ever know the difference. And when this level of character consistency is identified, something very specific happens in the spiritual world. A decree is issued. Not a suggestion, not a possibility. An official decree that declares your transformation is no longer a question of whether it will happen, but of when it will completely manifest in the physical plane. Now comes the part I know you've been waiting for since the beginning of this video. The promise the title made that I'm going to completely fulfill. What exactly are you going to become? The answer isn't simple because your transformation isn't simple. It operates in multiple dimensions simultaneously and will affect every area of your life in ways you can't yet fully imagine. But I'm going to show you the main aspects that have been confirmed about your inevitable destiny. First, you're going to become a living spiritual authority. This doesn't mean you'll have a religious title or position in some institution. It means your very presence will carry a frequency that alters the reality of people around you. When you enter an environment, the atmosphere will change, not because you try to impress, not because you force an artificial energy, but because the frequency you now carry is so elevated it forces the environment to either elevate with it or completely withdraw. You've already started noticing smaller versions of this. People who open up to you in ways they don't open up to anyone else. Strangers who trust you without apparent logical reason. Individuals who seek your opinion even when others with more credentials are available. This will intensify dramatically. Second, you're going to become a channel of transformation. Situations that seem impossible will start resolving when you get involved. Problems that had no apparent solution will find answers when you show up. People who were lost will find clarity simply by being in your presence. Not because you have all the answers, but because you carry a frequency that activates solutions that were dormant, waiting for the right catalyst. And you are that catalyst. Third, you're going to become a bearer of light that cannot be extinguished. No matter what darkness you face, the light you carry cannot be put out. People will notice that even on your worst days you radiate something they can't have even on their best days. And that light isn't artificial. It isn't forced. It isn't spiritual performance to impress others. It's the natural manifestation of who you've genuinely become inside. And fourth, you're going to become a bridge between the visible and the invisible. You'll operate simultaneously in the physical plane and spiritual dimensions with a fluidity few humans achieve. You'll receive information directly from sources that transcend human logic. You'll know things you have no way of knowing. You'll see patterns others cannot see. This is already happening. You've already had moments where you simply knew something without being able to explain how you knew it. Where the answer arrived before the question was fully formulated. Where your intuition was so precise that even you were surprised. This capacity will amplify exponentially. For those who want to go deeper, there's exclusive material in the description and pinned comment. Now I need to explain something that may be the most disturbing part of everything I'm going to reveal to you today. When I say God was impressed with you, I'm not using poetic language to make you feel good. I'm describing a real reaction that happened in the highest dimensions when the report on your evolution was presented. And before you think this is arrogance or exaggeration, let me explain the context. God observes billions of souls simultaneously, accompanies trillions of decisions every day, witnesses countless acts of kindness, cruelty, courage, and cowardice every second that passes. The vast majority of those observations are exactly what's expected. Humans acting like humans, making predictable decisions based on predictable patterns, reacting in ways any celestial entity could anticipate. But every now and then, very rarely, a soul does something that breaks the pattern. A soul demonstrates a level of evolution that wasn't expected for the stage they're at. A soul acts with integrity that transcends what their life history would suggest is possible. A soul chooses the harder path repeatedly without any guarantee of reward. And when that happens, even the Creator takes notice. What did you do that caused this reaction? It wasn't a single grand act. It wasn't an extraordinary miracle. It wasn't a sacrifice that made headlines. It was consistency. It was the sum of thousands of small decisions where you chose to be who you really are, instead of who it would be easier to be. It was the persistence in keeping your light on, even when everything around you was pushing you toward darkness. It was the refusal to become corrupted even when corruption seemed like the only way to survive. That silent consistency, that heroism without an audience, that integrity without visible reward, is what impressed the highest dimensions. Because it's easy to be good when everyone is watching. It's easy to have integrity when there's social pressure for it. It's easy to do the right thing when the wrong thing would have visible consequences. But to be who you are in the dark, to maintain your standards when nobody would ever know if you abandoned them, to choose the difficult path repeatedly without any guarantee that anyone would notice, that's extraordinary. And you did it without even knowing you were doing something extraordinary. If the transformation I'm revealing to you is real, then there should already be signs appearing in your life confirming the process is active. And there are. You just didn't have the right lens to recognize them for what they really are. First sign, changes in your sleep pattern. You've started sleeping less but waking up more rested. Or you're having dreams so vivid they seem more real than waking life. Or you're waking up at specific times repeatedly without an alarm. This is happening because you're accessing higher dimensions during sleep, more easily than before. Your physical body is adapting to the elevated spiritual frequency you now carry. Second sign, increased sensitivity to energies. Places you used to tolerate have now become intolerable. People whose company you enjoyed now drain your energy. Foods you used to eat no longer resonate with your body. This isn't being picky. It's your physical body recalibrating to the elevated spiritual frequency you now operate in. Low vibration things simply no longer match who you're becoming. Third sign, constant numerical synchronicities. You're seeing 1111, 333, 444 with statistically impossible frequency. Repeated numbers appear in random places in ways that defy logical explanation.
You are exhausted. Keeping your soul clean in a world that rewards the wicked is bleeding you dry. The manipulators take the throne, and you, the honest one, are crushed under their feet. You lie awake, wondering why you even bother being good. But let me ask you a dangerous question tonight. What if your agonizing losses, your endless disadvantages, and your silent suffering are not punishments? What if they are the final, brutal test for a level of absolute divine power that those who trampled you will never, ever be allowed to touch? Listen to me very carefully now. Settle deeply into your bed. Let the heavy darkness of the room isolate you from the chaotic noise of a society that has continuously failed you. Breathe in the silence and prepare your mind for a revelation that will permanently alter how you view your own existence. Forget the sweet, sanitized bedtime stories they fed you. There are no gentle angels sitting by your bed, strumming harps and singing you lullabies to soothe your bruised ego. That is a comforting fairy tale manufactured for the weak. Let me give you the cold, terrifying, and highly controversial truth. Right now, in dimensions your physical eyes cannot process, there is a high-level celestial council, a cosmic intelligence far beyond human comprehension. And they have been conducting a ruthless, meticulous, and entirely secret audit of your life. They were not watching you when you were sitting in a pew, or when you were performing good deeds for an audience. They do not care about your public image. They were auditing your mind at 2 a.m. They recorded the exact agonizing moment when you had the perfect opportunity to destroy someone who deeply hurt you. You held the weapon of revenge in your hands. The world told you it was justified, but you chose to drop it and walk away. They documented the dark hour when you could have lied, cheated, or manipulated a situation to get ahead, just like everyone else effortlessly does. But you swallowed the bitter, isolating pill of truth instead. When modern society begged you to corrupt yourself, when the pressure to lower your frequency just to survive became physically painful, you refused. People call you foolish for not playing their dirty, calculated games. They whisper that your kindness is a weakness. Let them talk. Because while they were busy cheating a temporary, rotting system, a classified dossier was being compiled on your soul. Here is the deeply disturbing reality that the religious elite refuse to teach. Heaven is not a charity, and the Creator does not hand out ultimate authority simply because you ask nicely. The spiritual hierarchy demands undeniable proof of character under extreme, crushing pressure. You were placed in a world run by wolves specifically to see if you would turn into one. The audit is now over. The celestial accountants have closed their books. When the final seal was placed on your dossier, a dead, reverent silence fell over the spiritual court. You did not just meet the minimum requirements. You did not merely pass the test. You completely, violently shattered their measurement system. You demonstrated a level of integrity so incredibly rare, so dangerously pure, that it triggered a system override in the spiritual realm. To maintain your authentic light in total darkness without any promise of a reward is a statistical anomaly. Close your eyes. Feel the immense weight of this reality pressing down on you. You are not a tragic victim of an unfair universe. You are a highly monitored premium spiritual asset who has just survived the most rigorous vetting process in existence. Your file is now marked classified, restricted only to the highest echelons of divine authority. Those manipulators who laughed at your kindness have absolutely no idea that they were nothing more than the testing variables in your cosmic examination. Let the silence of the night wrap around you like armor. The suffering was never random. The delays were never punishments. It was a calculated, necessary evaluation. And you have won. Rest now, because the results of this dossier are about to be unleashed. Lie perfectly still in the dark. Focus entirely on the heavy rhythm of your own heartbeat echoing in the silence of your room. The celestial audit is complete, and your file has been classified. But a spiritual verdict of that magnitude cannot simply remain in the invisible realm. It must violently rewrite your physical reality. Tonight, We are going to perform an anatomy of your mutation. Listen closely, because what I am about to reveal will enrage traditional religious institutions and terrify modern science. Society looks at your current state of mind and body and tries to diagnose you. They want to medicate your anxiety. They want to put a label on your exhaustion. They tell you that you are depressed, isolated, or losing your grip on reality. That is a massive structural lie designed to suppress your awakening. You are not sick. You are undergoing a brutal biological and spiritual mutation. Your frequency is being forcefully upgraded to carry the immense weight of your new anointing. Because of this upgrade, you have just been granted 4 terrifyingly powerful new authorities. First, you no longer need a religious title, a degree, or a pulpit to command respect. Your authority is now an undeniable energetic fact. Second, your mere presence automatically bends reality. You are no longer a victim of your circumstances. Your circumstances must bow to your frequency. Third, you have become a living purifier. When you step into a toxic room, the demons in others instantly recognize you, and the environment is forcibly cleansed. And fourth, you are now a permanent walking bridge between the visible and the invisible dimensions. But this level of power demands a severe physical toll. Let us execute a cold reading of your current physical and psychological state. I'm going to name the 7 definitive signs of your spiritual mutation. Do not panic when you realize I am describing exactly what has been happening to you behind closed doors. Sign number 1. Severe sleep disruption. You have been waking up at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. with a sudden jolting clarity. You stare at the ceiling, feeling wired but completely exhausted. Society calls this insomnia. The doctors want to give you pills to shut your brain down. Do not take the bait. This is not a sleep disorder. Your nervous system is physically downloading massive amounts of encrypted spiritual data. Your DNA is being rewritten in the quietest hours of the night when the static of the human world is at its lowest. The exhaustion you feel during the day is the physical aftermath of a celestial surgery. Sign number 2, a violent intolerance to toxic energy. You used to be able to sit through fake conversations. You used to tolerate the polite, shallow laughter of manipulative people. Not anymore. Now, it physically makes you sick. When someone lies to your face, or when you are in the presence of a narcissist, your stomach turns, your chest tightens, and you get sudden, piercing migraines. This is not social anxiety. You have developed a literal physical allergy to fakeness. Your upgraded frequency violently rejects low vibrational entities. Your body is forcing you to isolate because it can no longer digest the toxic energy of the masses. Sign number 3, the cosmic codes. You cannot look at a clock, a license plate, or a receipt without seeing repeating sequences. 1111-333, 444. The skeptics and the cynics call it confirmation bias. They laugh and say it is just a coincidence. Let them remain blind. These are not random numbers. They are the architectural codes of the universe glitching into your physical reality. It is the most high-leaving digital breadcrumbs, confirming that the matrix around you is actively responding to your new frequency. Sign number 4, the reversal of aging and the aura shift. Look in the mirror. Despite the profound exhaustion, despite the trauma you have survived, people are starting to look at you differently. They cannot quite explain it, but they say you look younger. Your skin holds a different glow. Your eyes carry an ancient, intimidating weight that makes weak people look away when you speak. Your spiritual mutation is literally slowing down your biological decay. The celestial light you carry inside is now bleeding through your physical vessel, altering your appearance and your commanding aura. Sign number 5, the shortened karmic gap. This is the most dangerous sign, and you must handle it with extreme caution. The distance between what you think and what actually happens has been violently compressed. You think of a person, and they call you. You harbor a fleeting desire, and the opportunity manifests days later. But conversely, when someone crosses you, their karma arrives with terrifying immediate speed. The universe is reacting to your thoughts in real time. You must guard your mind tonight because your thoughts are no longer just concepts. They are loaded weapons. Sign number 6. Unprovoked, chilling silence. Right now, your life might be surrounded by chaos. Bills, transitions, enemies plotting against you. Logically, you should be panicking. You should be breaking down. But instead, you feel this bizarre, almost disturbing sense of absolute peace. A quietness that makes no logical sense. Traditional religion calls it the peace that surpasses understanding. I call it the eye of the hurricane. It is the absolute cold certainty of a sovereign soul that knows the war is already won. Sign number 7. The feeling of being watched. You are lying in your bed right now, and you can feel it. A heavy, thick, benevolent presence in the room with you. It is not a ghost. It is not your imagination playing tricks in the dark. It is the celestial escort assigned specifically to guard your mutation process. You are being closely monitored and fiercely protected by entities that would absolutely annihilate anyone who dares to interfere with your transition. Breathe into that presence. Do not be afraid of the symptoms. Do not let the world medicate your anointing. You are mutating into something the enemy is utterly terrified of. Let the downloads continue. Let the silence consume you. Sleep now, knowing your transformation is irreversible. Let the heavy hypnotic rhythm of the night pull you deeper into your mattress. The cosmic audit has cleared your name, and your spiritual mutation is actively rewriting your DNA as you breathe. But before you allow yourself to drift into the comforting illusion of a painless ascension, you must open your spiritual eyes and look at the document heaven has just placed on your chest. There is a terrifying, unspoken rule in the spiritual realm that modern feel-good religion completely refuses to teach you. Heaven does not hand over sovereign reality-bending power for free. The universe does not grant you a crown without extracting a toll. The Most High has issued an invoice. And tonight, we are going to look at the brutal, unnegotiable price of your anointing. There are 4 agonizing costs you are currently paying. First, the brutal, unforgiving isolation. You prayed for an empire, but you wept when the Creator began forcefully evacuating the peasants from your life. The higher you ascend in frequency, the thinner the air becomes. You cannot carry parasites to the summit. The universe is deliberately stripping away your social circle, your toxic family members, and your fair-weather friends. The loneliness you are feeling right now is not a symptom of depression. It is a strict, mandatory quarantine. You must be isolated so you can stop mimicking the behavior of sheep and remember the roar of the lion. Second, the ego-crushing weight of responsibility. When you step into this level of authority, the era of playing the victim is permanently terminated. You can no longer blame your childhood, your ex, or the economy. When your thoughts have the power to manifest reality, a single careless complaint can curse your own timeline. The responsibility will crush your human ego into dust. You must operate with the terrifying precision of a surgeon, because every word you speak is now a binding cosmic law. Third, the absolute death of compromise. Here is the highly controversial truth that will make the religious hypocrites furious. Keeping the peace is a sin when the peace is built on a lie. You are no longer allowed to smile at people who secretly hate you. You are stripped of the ability to sit at Thanksgiving dinners and politely nod at the passive-aggressive venom of your relatives. Your physical body will literally reject the act of faking it. You will choke on small talk. You will look at the manipulators, and your silence will completely undress their insecurities. You have lost the ability to be a nice person. You have traded politeness for lethal authenticity. Fourth, the total surrender of the human steering wheel. You wanted to control how your success would look. You had a timeline. You had a map. Burn it. To receive the highest level of divine intervention, you must completely lose control of the journey. You will be told to walk away from logical opportunities. You will be commanded to step into the dark with absolutely zero proof that the ground will hold your weight. You feel the sting of that invoice, don't you? It is heavy. It is cold. But listen to me very carefully as the night surrounds you. Once that invoice is paid in blood, tears, and isolation, the cosmic court automatically authorizes the deployment of your ultimate defense mechanism, the shield. You are not walking into this new dimension unprotected. The Most High has installed 4 impenetrable automated security protocols around your life. Protocol 1. The ricochet effect. You have been conditioned to waste your energy praying for the downfall of your enemies, or worse, begging them to understand you. Stop. Your new perimeter is wired with high-voltage, divine retribution. Any curse, any gossip, any demonic plot, and any lie spoken against your name will hit this invisible barrier and violently ricochet back to the sender, multiplied by 10. You do not need to lift a finger to destroy them. They will absolutely, systematically self-destruct using their own ammunition. You will sit in complete silence while the universe acts as your personal executioner. Protocol 2. The blockade of counterfeits. You have cried over closed doors. You grieved the job you didn't get and the relationship that suddenly ended. Wipe your tears immediately. Those were not missed blessings. They were brilliantly disguised traps. Your celestial escort violently slammed those doors shut because they saw the explosives wired to the frame. The universe is actively blockading fake opportunities that were sent by the enemy to derail your timeline. Protocol 3. Accelerated synchronization. You feel like you have lost years of your life. But time is a human construct, and your shield bends time. What takes a mortal 10 years of grueling hustle, the universe will synchronize for you in 10 days. The exact people, the exact resources, and the exact capital you need are currently being magnetized to your frequency. The matrix is rearranging itself to accommodate your arrival. Protocol 4. Emergency intervention. There will be moments when human exhaustion tries to pull you off the cliff, but you are now a protected asset. Before you can hit the ground, an invisible, overwhelming force will intervene. An impossible coincidence. A sudden windfall of cash. A stranger saying the exact words you needed to hear. You are quite literally not allowed to fail. And now, breathe deeply and let us address the fate of the ones who betrayed you. The cynics, the mockers, the ones who threw you to the wolves. They will not be destroyed immediately. That would be far too merciful. No, divine justice is a masterpiece of psychological warfare. They will be kept perfectly alive. They will be forced to stand in the cold, suffocating darkness of their own mediocrity, completely paralyzed, as the spotlight of heaven illuminates you. They will be the primary captive audience to your coronation. They will have to watch in agonizing, unbroken silence as you effortlessly become the exact, terrifying magnitude of power they once mocked. They will realize, too late, that they had an audience with royalty, and they chose to play the fool. The invoice is paid. The shield is locked. Rest in the terrifying safety of your new empire. Let the darkness take you, for tomorrow the Matrix bows to you. Breathe deeply into the absolute stillness of your room. The celestial audit is closed. The brutal invoice of your isolation has been paid in full, and your divine shield is now entirely operational. We have finally reached the climax of this midnight transmission. This is the inevitable materialization. Listen to me with every fiber of your soul, because what is set in motion tonight cannot be undone by any human hand, demon, or system. A decree from the Most High cannot be cancelled. However, here is the harsh, controversial reality that you must swallow. While you cannot cancel your destiny, your own stubborn human foolishness can absolutely delay it. If you choose to look back, if you crawl back to the toxic comfort of your old, expired relationships, because the altitude of your new frequency scares you, you will put your own coronation on hold. In the coming days, you are going to experience a sudden, terrifying surge of clarity. The fog will violently lift. And when it does, the remaining dead weight in your life, those old friends, those stagnant routines, will drop away like dead leaves in a hurricane. Let them fall. Do not reach into the dirt to pick them back up. As they exit, a new, massive, unprecedented flow of financial abundance will bypass the traditional gatekeepers and flood directly into your timeline. You are stepping into an era where your mere existence is funded by the cosmos. But here is the final, ultimate command of the night. Your blinding greatness does not require a clapping audience. You do not need the people who misunderstood you to suddenly wake up and applaud your rise. Heaven does not need their permission to crown you. But the universe absolutely requires one thing: your own cold, calculated consent. You must agree to your own power. You cannot drift to sleep as a passive observer. You must physically authorize the transfer of this reality. Open your eyes in the dark. Reach for your device. Go into the comments right now and type the numbers 777. Typing 777 is your physical signature. It is the unbreakable seal on your new frequency. Do it now and permanently lock the doors behind you so the ghosts of your past cannot follow you into the morning. And for those of you who are truly ready to stop playing games with your destiny, I will leave you with a brutal observation. It is entirely pathetic how the masses will blindly hand over their money for a garbage, toxic fast food meal that literally rots their biology. Yet they hesitate to invest in their own spiritual acceleration. If you are finally done functioning at the bottom of the pyramid, there is a specific classified accelerator waiting for you. For less than the price of a junk food meal, you can bypass the waiting room and force the immediate manifestation of this celestial decree. The key is waiting for you in the bio and the pinned comment. Do not leave this transmission unprotected. Hit the subscribe button and like this video to permanently tether your timeline to this specific divine frequency. If you walk away without sealing the grid, you surrender your throne back to the shadows. The transition is now complete. The simulation is broken. Close your eyes, release the heavy breath from your lungs, and sleep in the terrifying, magnificent certainty of your absolute power.